Hey guys, what's going on? I think I'm live. I'm going to double check here. It looks like we do have a viewer, so I think we are live.
Right.
And let me triple check here. I've got a guest today that um, has been awesome enough to kind of share his experience about what's going on, about kind of these new rules that's happening with text messages and phone calls and all these things. And so give me just a second. I want to triple check if anyone is here. Oh, there's three people watching. So we are live. Okay, awesome.
Right.
So hey guys, Amber Jones here, and I wanted to do a quick video. This is very informal Facebook Live. If you're here, say hello, leave a comment if you have any questions. But we're talking about some of the new rules of phone calls and text messages that's happening right now and how it is affecting business owners. And I wanted to thank Mr. Keith. I met Keith through Robin Murphy, actually, was awesome. And I wanted to thank you for being open to share kind of your experience because some of these things that were going on are kind of affecting your business. And so he reached out to me and we are helping him out. But hey, I want to not like talk so much. So, Keith, tell me about, your business, where you're located. What services are you doing?
Yeah. The name of my company is Maid Brigade. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been in business about 34 years and started experiencing the pain of my text being rejected, which was awful because we were sending out notices and we were
Hmm.
arriving at customers' homes and they were saying, "Hey, we weren't expecting you." And so started looking more into it and found out that they were not getting their 48-hour reminder text, as well as some of them weren't getting their on my way text that we send when we're on our way. So it was
Mm.
really, it was scary because it started to happen about 6 months ago, I guess.
Oh,
And
wow.
not 6 months, 6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, now it could have been happening a little before that, but we just really didn't notice until customers started complaining that they weren't getting their text, and they were really dependent on them. At least my customers are very dependent on their text
Mm.
reminders, and so, anyways, when I started looking and went into Twilio, which I use Twilio,
Mm.
I started looking at the messages, and they highlight all the texts that are not going through in red, and oh my gosh, it was pretty bad trying to go back and figure out who those customers were because the name's not there, only the telephone number. So it was real time consuming. So,
Mm.
anyways, I knew this was coming up. I knew that the FCC was putting regulations on. I just didn't pay attention and
Mm.
didn't take it serious until it started affecting me with my customers. And then I started looking into it and I found out, oh my gosh, it was it's worse than what I thought. And
Yeah.
so hopefully Amber helped me out even temporarily because we got it. She put in a quick fix for it, and today was the first day we haven't had any text rejected.
That's
So
awesome. So
yeah, it
let me
was
let me
relieving.
rewind a little bit. Okay, so
Right?
you have Maid Brigade here in Frisco. So you have an established
Fort
customer
Worth.
base, right? Oh, Fort
Yes.
Worth. I'm sorry. I'm thinking we're in Frisco. Like
Yeah.
you're in Fort
Yeah.
Worth.
Okay.
Okay. And so you've how long was it? 35 years you said?
Yeah. 34 years.
34 years. Okay. So you've kind of built this like the text messaging and the communications has been integral because you guys are doing recurring cleaning for your clients,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Okay. And so how did you notice it? Like how did you notice that
well,
your
you
text
first,
messages weren't going through?
well, first we just noticed it because some of our teams, and it was happening more on our monthly customers, which we aren't the majority of our customers. Most of ours are mostly weekly and every 2 weeks. But we go to the monthlies, and they have to really be reminded. The weeklies and the biweeklies are not as affected by it. But we got to the house, and they were telling my teams when they arrived, said we weren't expecting you. Uh,
Mm.
and so they were calling the office. The customers were calling us and saying, "Well, I'm not getting my reminders." So that's how it came up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Uh,
And you told me too, like that's hurting that could have hurt your bottom line because don't you usually charge a cancellation fee if you can't
We
do your
do.
service? Yeah.
We got a fee if we get to the house and we can't service them. We have a cancellation fee. So that really angers people, and that's why they're so dependent because they don't want to pay that cancellation fee. So they're really
Mm,
dependent on that text reminder, and it's been in the last probably 6 or 8 years that we've been, depending on text um, to reach them. You can't reach them with. We also send emails, but nobody looks at their email because of
yeah.
all the spam. And
Right.
so, I think what's happened, I'm glad they're catching this with text because, emails are it's out of control.
Mm,
Text, and nobody reads their emails. If they get it, they don't ever read it, or it's, days before they see it. So we're
yeah.
really dependent on the text thing. So I'm glad it's a good thing and a bad thing. Uh, it's good that they're preventing the spam from happening because there's a lot of spammers out there, and
Right.
they're going to ruin it just like they did the emails if they don't
Right. Yeah,
fix.
and that's essentially what they're doing with the regulators because text messages have a 98% open rate within 3 minutes of you sending it.
Oh yeah,
So, we definitely don't want to ruin that. It's a trusted communication.
yes,
So, man, I just like I said, I wanted to thank you for sharing, allowing me to share your story because I can yell from the rooftops, right? And then I just sound like a
and,
crazy lady, right? But but there
well,
are people out there. I mean, the first deadline is actually July 5th for when the phone carriers, when I say they, so we're talking about the regulators have put laws and regulations in place with the DNC, the TCPA. It's kind of like an alphabet soup, right, of all
right,
the people
yeah,
involved. But essentially, they've put these regulations in place to make sure that consumers are only receiving phone calls and text messages from people that they want to hear from
right,
um, to help combat that. And so, I uh, man, I lost my train of thought there. And so I just wanted to give a quick spill. And so what's happening is now the regulators told the phone carriers and the phone network providers, they says, hey, you guys are responsible for helping us crack down on this, right? You guys got to help us crack down on these spam text
yeah,
messages, these spam calls that are going on. And so throughout this process, with it being billions, I think they say it's about 20 to 40 billion spam calls and texts per month, right?
oh my god, I believe it.
So instead of them saying, hey, we're going to go after each spammer and scammer, they're saying, no, if you are a legitimate business, prove it to us. Let
Right,
us know. They just want to know, like, hey, who are you contacting? How did you get their contact information? Do they know that you will be contacting them with an express written consent? And then they say, hey, send us some sample messages of what you're going to send. So that way we know what you're going to be sending. Because if it looks like spam, we're going to block you. So
right,
that's kind of the short spill about what's going on. And, the phone carriers, specifically Twilio, AT&T, and T-Mobile, have put this hard deadline of July 5th in place to say, hey, you need to get it registered. You need to give us all this information to verify you're a legit business and some sample messages. And oh, by the way, you got to make sure on the website you do some things on your website too, right?
right.
The hard deadline is July 5th to not only get it submitted, but to be approved. Like, and so everyone's kind of in this rush because no one's really brought awareness to it. And us business owners, we're kind of just caught in the middle, right? Of kind of everything that's been going
And it's
on.
going to be interesting to see what happens to all these businesses out there that are not familiar with this, and then all of a sudden, their texts are working, and or they're getting rejected, and it's random too. Because I mean, I had one customer that was getting one text but wasn't getting the other reminder. So
Mm,
there's no, I can't find any pattern to it,
yeah.
but it doesn't matter. It's got to be fixed, but it's something that everybody is going to experience, and some people are going to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Uh, and unfortunately, I found you, and we were able to get mine at least started. I understand it's somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks, but to get approved.
Right. And so Yeah, let's kind of talk about it. Okay, so you have a local phone number. As a local business, of course, we want to use a local phone number so that when we call our customers and clients, we want them to know, like, and trust us, right? And so when we choose our business number, we want it to be a local number. The challenge is when these local numbers were created originally, they were not created for businesses. They were created for P2P or person to person or
Right.
peer to peer, right? And then businesses started adapting these local numbers to start sending to use for their business, right? And so, as a business, sometimes we have to use software. We have to use like broadcast messaging or automated messaging. But as business owners, of course, we're going to want a local number attached to our reminder sequence, to our broadcast, right? And so when you automate these things, when you use a voice over IP like Grasshopper or Twilio or anything, any software or app that you have to log into to communicate, you are now using an application. So now you've switched from the path of person to person to application to person. And so these numbers, these local numbers, were not originally designed for that. And that's what they're cracking down on. And so one of the things that I had suggested to Keith, and this was actually from Twilio itself, was they says, hey, let's go ahead and get a toll free number, right? Because the toll free numbers were meant to be application of they were meant for like the broader spectrum of things. And so we can still continue to use these local phone numbers, but they're going to be very, very stringent moving forward about who's approved, what gets approved to get sent through, and you have to register each different use case. So if you're going to use this number for reminders and notifications, we have to let the phone carriers know now. If you're going to use it for broadcasting, you have to let them know now. And now you have to give them examples of it as well. And so that's kind of what's happened. And so what I did for you, and I'm glad, hopefully, is it okay that I go ahead and like,
Go right ahead,
okay,
because
cool,
whatever you
cool.
did worked. I mean, it immediately cleared up all the issues I had yesterday by using the 800 number. I mean,
Awesome. Okay. So
uh,
here's what I did. Okay. So for anyone watching, yes, we do need to register your local numbers. We absolutely need to register your local numbers. But here's the thing. That local number is actually the application process is taking anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks currently. And I imagine that it might take longer as we get closer to these deadlines and these cutoffs. The first deadline, the hard deadline is July 5th. And then the final deadline is August 31st when they will completely block everything. So right now, only some of them are being blocked and filtered. Kind of what you're experiencing, kind of here and
right.
there intermittently. But gradually, the blocking the percentage that they block is going to go up as we get closer to these deadlines. And so um, we submit, of course, the registration as soon as we can. We want to do that registration as soon as we can. But again, remember, excuse me, remember it has to be approved by the deadline as well. What is today? June 22nd is today. So even if we submit it today, we're going to pass that cutoff. And
Yeah.
so
Oh, absolutely.
what my plan and goal was to say, hey, we need a backup plan. Let's go ahead and register your number, right? And while that's waiting, we're going to get you a toll free number, because the toll free number, while it still takes weeks to approve, while you are in the pending status, the phone carriers will allow you to send up to 2,000 messages per day, with less filtering. So the filtering might still be there. And this is officially me like letting you know what to expect going forward. Everything is kind of still in the Wild West, right? So um, you should see higher deliverability rate for right now. It'll go even higher once that campaign has been approved. But at least right now, you've got a plan A and we've got a plan B. So now we don't have to necessarily worry about so much like, what if everything gets cut off and I can't do anything? So that was kind of the strategy that, we employed for you. And I think we got that submitted The toll-free number, we got that submitted for you yesterday, and it went pending yesterday. So it sounded like you said there were some filtered yesterday, but as of today,
Had
everything's
three
gone through?
filtered yesterday, and we were having 10, 12, 15 a day. Um, but I've got I've got a number of different campaigns going. I've got some marketing campaigns, and I've got some notification campaigns. We send out quality cards, quality link surveys through a text. So so we've got a lot of text going out in
Mm,
different for different campaigns, and they're all through our software. But yeah, I mean, it cut it down to zero today, so we had
awesome
none.
sauce.
Yeah,
Virtual high five.
I had to go home and
Okay.
sleep at night because I mean it was really a problem because you don't know unless you actually log into your Twilio account and you go in and you look into your logs, and then they highlight in red the ones that were rejected, that
Mhm.
were not sent, and so you can identify how many you have by looking at that. But I don't want to go in there every day and then find out, have to go. It doesn't list the name. It only lists the telephone number, so you have to cross reference your
Oh, yeah.
see who the customer is and call them up and say, "Hey, we're coming tomorrow. You better be ready for us."
Right,
Yeah, so
right.
it could cost you a lot of money in the long run if you don't get it fixed quickly. If you're using texting,
Right, right. Well, yeah.
that's
So if you don't mind, I actually did get a chance to look into your follow up, and one of the things I wanted to do is not like kind of set expectations moving forward, and then also kind of share with you some best practices. And if for anyone that's watching, this is not just affecting Twilio. This is affecting every voice over IP,
mhm,
every application to person. So if you have to log into a software or an app on your phone to message people, if you're using a CRM that has text messages, some CRMs are helping with this, right? This is affecting everyone. It's not just Twilio. So if anyone's watching, the first thing you want to do is you want to contact your service provider. Anything that's sending text messages for you, contact them and ask them if there's any steps that you as a business owner need to take to register your business and your text messages, like your campaigns, so that they don't get blocked.
mhm.
Don't be surprised if when you reach out to these companies, they don't know what you're talking about either. Like I've
Yeah.
run into that instance as well. Even some of the phone providers don't even know; they're not even aware of what's going on. But
Well,
that would be the first.
our software provider is, I mean, they've sent out lots. In fact, I got a notice this morning about it. Don't
Mm,
forget this. Don't ignore this because, it's going to be something it's going to affect your business. And
well, that's
so we've
good
gotten
that
a
they're
lot of warning. Yeah, they're trying to get the word out. So,
good, 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 and hopefully this video will help too. Will help
yeah.
share that, hey guys, this is no joke. It's already affecting people, and it's not even July 5th yet, and it's not even the end of August yet. So moving forward, here's what I know. Like I can't predict the future, and of course the rules and regulations, they're going to change, and even I just want to prepare you. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what I do know. Okay. So moving forward, here's what I do recommend is definitely keep that local number, but keep that toll free number as well.
Mm-hmm.
If possible, when you're doing your text blasts, let me rewind. We want to protect your local number. We want to protect the reputation of that local number. So we want to use that local number for, communicating with customers that know you already, right? Like if you're doing outgoing phone calls, it's okay to use that number. When it comes to sending reminder notifications and text, like marketing text blasts and things like that, that's when it would be good to leverage that toll free number, because those toll free numbers, they have more leniency when you're sending out those text blasts. So that's another tip, like moving forward,
Right.
that would definitely help with that. I wanted to ask you, do you, this will definitely affect so many people after July 5th. Yes, yes. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't see a name on that, on who posted that, but yes, definitely it will affect so many people after July 5th.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be, if
It's,
it's already
yeah,
affected me, 6 or 8 weeks ago, I can't
mhm,
imagine what it's going to be like after July 5th. You know,
right. Right, exactly, exactly. And so that's what I suspect moving forward. Also, what I have seen is some people, even though the campaigns are getting approved, some people's messages are still getting blocked because they're trying to use it for a case, a different use, like what's the word I'm looking for? So, for instance, they would register at, oh, hey, Kelvin. This is my husband. So
Mhm.
what they would do is they would register and say, "Hey, I'm using this for notifications," but then they try to send a text message, promotion through, and
Yeah,
so those would get blocked. And so we just have to be open and prepared that it's going to be the wild, wild west
yeah,
for a while, even after we get approved. Um, and just educate ourselves on some of these best practices moving forward. If you're doing the text blasts, grab a toll-free number and do it from a toll-free number. We text all of our quotes to our clients. Yes, so definitely if you're texting your quotes to your clients, then you definitely want to get that registered as soon as possible. Another suggestion that would actually help too, and I mentioned it to you briefly, I believe, is getting as many of your customers as possible to actually save your company phone number, like as a contact to their phone. Later on, once we get past the text apocalypse,
yeah.
uh, there is a process that you can do to easily, you can send an email. There's a couple of different ways that we can actually have people easily save your phone number, your business phone number, but we want them to be familiar, especially if you're using the 833 number. Make sure we're always, use your name, use your company name, make sure all messages have, PS, if you no longer want to receive text messages, reply, end, or stop, right? But it's going to be really, really important to have that relationship with your customers because guess what else will happen? If you do a text blast and you get more than 5% of your people that you text blast to report you, like to say unsubscribe, guess what? That's going to count against you now, too.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've heard that and I used to do a lot of text blasts where I'd send out, as many as 2,500. And they said that that is, you need to limit the number of how many you should blast at one time for that reason. Is that
Hmm.
true?
Well, I don't know specifically. I do know it is it literally is documented in the Twilio policies and in the best practices from CETA. There's so many places I've researched these things, but they're looking at if it's higher than 5%, um, then yeah, they're because essentially you get a trust score when you register these campaigns. You're going to have a trust score, and they're going to be looking at multiple things. They're going to look at how many unsubscribes are you getting, are your messages registered, what is your average call length, right? And so, for example, if those people that love to do voice drops or automated voice recordings, um, specifically voice drops, if they see it's essentially calling someone and then hanging up on them. So that call time is going to be like a second.
Yeah.
And so if you average short call times, they're going to count that against you, right? Because that's what spammers do, right?
Yeah.
And so
Right.
sadly, some of us business owners are unknowingly like spamming. We don't mean to, but
Yeah.
technically, we're kind of copying some of those traits there, right? And so there's going to be a lot, like I said, once we get past the text Armageddon here, I'll be definitely trying to, say, hey, these are some of the best practices. Make sure, we do ABC steps moving forward to help with that. And so,
It's gonna make you evaluate, how you do your campaigns, because we have automated campaigns. When we give a quote and they don't book, then it goes into an automated thing with emails and text and
mhm,
stuff. So it's gonna make you think, before you give you that option to let those people, opt out of that, so that you're not getting having them get irritated with you, and
exactly.
you start. But we don't do it. I mean, it's not something where these sporadically go out. They don't go all out at once, and it's. I don't think that we're over. I don't think we're spamming, but maybe we are.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
as long as you're giving them a way to opt out, then you're fine. And this is where long term, see, I think us business owners sometimes we're a little bit selfish. Like we think about ourselves. We don't think about what it's like to be in the customer's shoes. And
Right.
so, as long as long term, we just need to focus on, are we communicating with people that want to hear from us? And if they don't want to hear from us, we need to remove them. We need to give them,
Absolutely.
like, we get annoyed. We know what it's like. Like, we know what it's like. And so it's hard sometimes because, oh, I'm spending money on AdWords, or, you know, we're investing our time and our money to generate leads and to generate the, customers. But so you want to squeeze as much as you can out of it, right? But the reality is, a lead is not a lead. A lead is a person. Let's just be
Right.
real. And so after we get through these regulations, it's going to be so important to work on your, not necessarily just branding, but your customer experience. So that way they'll look forward to your messages. So they look forward to your service, right? And then when you call them or text them about specifically when you text them about a promotion, right? It doesn't feel yucky, right? Like, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, yeah," or they'll say, "Oh no."
It's interesting because I spent about an hour today going through my email and unsubscribing. So I feel the pain of these people that are getting all this spam and stuff. And I just don't hope I don't come across the same way to them. I don't,
Yeah.
I want them to opt out or get out of it. So I won't continue sending them. And so that's why it's really important to you to have that opt out message on every single campaign you have or every text you send,
Yeah,
which is something
especially the automated
I did
ones.
not have that on there, and I've since added that statement at the bottom of every text.
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
have that.
that's awesome. That's awesome. And
Yeah,
it stinks. And so the other thing I wanted to tell people, because I don't think it's really like a problem with you, is like, I'm a marketer at heart. And so when we have to add this text in a checkbox to our web form to get explicit consent, I cringe as a marketer. I
yeah,
cringe because I'm like, oh, it's going to lower the amount of leads that I get, right? Like, it's going to sound so rigid. But the reality is, these are the new rules. And so if anyone is trying to go through their process, excuse me, if anyone is trying to go through this process on their own, don't try to find loopholes, guys. Like, let's follow the rules, do what the regulators and Twilio and all these do what they're suggesting. Don't try to find a loophole and the thing is too, if your conversions go lower, guess what? Your lead quality just went up though.
well, absolutely, because
Because
we're
the thing
spending a lot of time with people that are not ever going to schedule in with you, and so it's taking a lot of our time too as well. So it does clean up a lot of things.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and they'll know exact. So I don't know if you've ever done this, like, so sometimes, especially with Facebook ads, it's so easy to opt in to
yeah,
these ads, and then so many times you'll call them and they'll be like, "Huh?" Like, but
yeah,
now if we have this extra checkbox, if we do all these things, they're now going to expect your phone call. Oh yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. I called. Now probably that maybe they've called three other numbers, three other service providers, but if we go these extra steps, it's going to be a good thing in the long run. And so, um, that's one thing to focus
right.
on too. So I think I shared some of the best practices. One of the things, if you want to go through your automations, make sure also that the text messages are only during going out through business hours. So between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m., I usually do 8:30 to like 4, or sometimes I do around 6 o'clock in the evening because sometimes you'll get a good response rate. But that's another thing that.
It's a good tip. I really have not. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure when these are going out because it was
mm,
when the automation was set up. It was. Um, I have no idea, but that's a good point.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they score, that is a part of your score as well. Is like, some of these automations by default, they'll go out after they send, if they opt in at 11 p.m., sometimes by default that automated text message will go out right then. And if you do that, it's going to ping you. Like, it's scary how much, you know, I have to be careful how I say this, but it's
What's
almost a little
scary
bit
is what you
scary.
don't know, and that's the thought. That's what scares me.
Yeah, yeah. So let me answer this question here. Do we have to register our number or the assigned number from Twilio? I'm not sure. I don't know if I completely understand the question, but essentially you want to register all of your phone numbers. So for instance, some people are using like call rail, they're using tracking phone numbers. You want to register all of those numbers because at first I was like, oh, let's just register our numbers, our outgoing, right? So
Right.
if you have a tracking number, that's okay. But the reality is, and this is what I've seen too, a lot of times if you are sending text notifications, so let's say someone opts in and you get a text notification that, hey, you guys have a lead, you have a new lead, here's their information. Guess what? That can get blocked too if you don't register it. And the reason why is because sometimes it will embed a phone number, or it'll say, hey, click here to look at their profile, and it'll send a link. Guess what? They're going to track that too. And so,
Yeah.
and I've seen this happen to people. I've seen it happen where they didn't register their notifications and now they're missing out on notifications that they're getting leads. They don't even know it that quickly, right? Because it's being filtered out because it wasn't registered. So,
And the registration process is grueling. I mean, it's really hard. I started registering mine with Twilio, and I got about a third of the way in there, and I'm thinking, I got to find somebody to do this for me because it was asking questions that I couldn't answer and
right.
or didn't understand. So the registration process is very, very difficult, and that's the reason I hired Amber to do it for me. It's always easy to have somebody that's familiar with what they're doing because, I mean, I was just kind of in limbo when I got into it because there's a lot of information. You have to gather all your information before you actually send that registration because, from what I understand, if you send something that they don't like, it's gonna kick it out.
Yeah. So you'll have to wait the 4 to 6 weeks for a denial and then you have to resubmit it. So,
So,
it,
anyways,
yeah, and the crazy thing is even with me, even some of the things that were approved months ago or even weeks ago, they'll get approved and you try to do it again and the rules change. Or these registrations, they're being approved by human beings. It's not an automated process. And so um what worked one time might not work the next. And
right,
and that's just what I'm trying to bring awareness to is number one, take action on this. But number two, it's gonna be a long and grueling process. And filling the form out itself, if you've got everything in place, and oh, by the way, you've got to change your privacy policy. You make sure you have a privacy policy. You had a privacy policy. I had to
yeah,
update it. I had to update. I didn't tell you
oh,
this. I
did
had to
you?
up. Yeah, I updated it because it didn't include the privacy. Not only do you have to have a privacy policy, but it has to have certain things inside of the privacy policy. So, one of the things that it has to say, you have to have age gating on there. So, meaning you have to let people know like it's designed for people 13 or over, 18 or over, right? And so I looked at your privacy. I says, "Oh man, let me go ahead and change it just in case." So I
Yeah.
updated your privacy policy for you.
Well, thank you. I didn't know that. I'm sure there's quite a few things on my website that was missing.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I mean, feeling, I just, whether people have me help them or you try to do this yourself, because the reality is, it's myself and my husband, and I'm gonna get some VAs to help eventually and train some people. But the reality is, I can only help so many people, and so
yeah,
that's why I'm trying to just spread awareness. I'll show you how to do it. Watch my video, right? Because I can't help everyone.
right.
And I just please, guys, don't oversimplify this process. Like,
Yeah.
don't wait till the end. Don't wait. Like, don't try to sit down and fill out this form without Keith was saying. Don't try to do it without getting your business information in front of you. Get
I
your
sent out
LLC
I
documents.
sent out a distress call to Amber, and she called me immediately. You could tell that I was struggling trying to get this done, and um,
Yeah. Well,
it,
I've had a lot of people come through, but when you told me that your stuff was blocking, you left a note saying, "Hey, legitimately, my messages are being blocked, and it's affecting my business." I says, "Oh man." So I says, "Let me go ahead and call
yeah,
and reach
that's
out
when
to
it
you."
gets serious. Is when you start feeling it, and you know that you've got customers calling you saying, "Hey, you're not sending me my text. What's wrong?" You know,
Yeah.
and so, anyways,
Well, awesome. Well, hey, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I really thank you, like from the bottom of my heart, thank you for allowing me to share your experience with others. Because it's one of those things that even I took for granted. It affected our business. It did affect our business
Yeah.
6 months over the winter time. And our messages were being blown. It was only like a couple of times, and I didn't do anything. I was worried, but I did nothing because I didn't know what to do, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't know what to do next, so I did nothing. And when it kept coming up, the messages kept coming. I said, you know what? I probably need to dig into this. And so that's why, like, I do this full time now. Like, I'm
Yeah.
studying, I'm on webinars. Twilio has a webinar tomorrow. I'm going to, like, all I've invested in, like, technology and software to help monitor these things for people. And someone's got to do it. It's going to affect so
Yeah.
many people. And
Well,
so
I was going to manually do it myself. I was going to, well, I'll just get one of my staff here in the office to go into Twilio log and just you know see who's not getting them and give them a phone call. I thought that was the hard way to do it because
yeah,
in order just to fix it so it doesn't happen. So I think it's um, so you were a blessing in that part because I tell you what I was really worried about it getting worse because it was we were I was having a lot of text blocks
yeah,
and and it's nice looking on that log today and not seeing any. So
that's
at least I
awesome.
know all my
Yeah.
customers in the next couple of days are going to be cleaned.
Awesome. Well, yeah, keep a check on it. Let me know if anything changes. Like I said, we've submitted both of those registrations. So we just have to await. We've done all the changes that are needed to be changed. I went through what I could find of your messages and made sure to add that snippet at the end about the opt out. You
Right.
also want to make sure that you're putting the name of your company in there. And then later on, down the road, I will show you. Remind me. I'll try to remember. If Kelvin, if you're on, help remind me. We do have a like we put together a process where at the push of a button or the scan of a QR code, your customers can save your business contact information.
That would be
So you can,
nice.
like, yeah, you can print it out on like a business card, and at the end of the service, say, hey, don't miss our calls or messages. Scan here to save us as a
Right.
contact in your phone number. So I've kind of got some things. This is just the tip of the iceberg, sadly, everyone. With these regulations, there's a lot of things that I'm not speaking of right now on the TCPA side of things, because right now we just need to get through this first hump. And so, again, thank you so much. Do you have any questions for me before we
I know.
go?
Says you as you're testing these things, use me, and I'll be happy to try them all out because I know I'm willing to try anything to make this thing go smoother. And
Awesome.
I realize it's going to change a lot between now and the next year or so.
Right.
They're gonna they're gonna be putting the squeeze on everybody.
Right, right. And the best thing to remember, guys, is it ultimately is going to be a good thing. You're gonna be, even if your list gets, like, shrinks, even if your contact list shrinks, the quality that stays will be higher quality. So that's what we need to focus on. Focus on the people that want to hear from us. Focus on the people that absolutely love your service. Now's the time to dig deep on building those relationships and a great customer experience for your customers. So that way, when you do communicate with them, if you have to use a toll free number or a number that they don't recognize, they don't report you as spam. If they report you as spam, it's going to count against you. And then we've done all this stuff for nothing. So,
Good
so,
advice, very good advice.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So thank you again so much, and we'll definitely, keep us posted on how things are going. You should be good. I'll monitor the progress of your registration, and we'll definitely give you updates once we get
yeah,
the final. We'll do what it takes to help
yeah,
you stay in the text inbox.
great, great. I
Awesome.
appreciate
Well,
all your help.
awesome. Well, does anyone watching, if you guys have any questions, we've got a few people watching, not many, but we've got some watching. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to go to protectmyphonerep.com. You can comment below. I will try to get to any comments that are below. But if you go to protectmyphonerep.com, there's a big yellow button if you need help. If you want my direct help specifically, hit that big yellow button, fill out the form. Please share as detailed. If you're experiencing problems, please let me know that as well. And leave me a note. I'll be happy to help. If this is something that you want to attempt, if you want to do it yourself, I've got a recorded workshop that walks you through. It's specific to Twilio. However, the process is similar um, across the board with whatever phone service provider that you have. So if you want access to the free training, let me know. I've got a free Facebook group. Please, 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 if you see this, share this as much as you can with people, because the more they see it, like you said, Keith, and me too, I knew about this a year and a
Oh
half
yeah,
ago.
just ignored it.
And we ignored it. So
Yeah,
please help us
don't
to spread
ignore it.
awareness.
It's
Yeah.
sort of that. It's hiding there, and it's gonna jump up and bite you because it's not going away.
Yeah, it's not going away. It is the new
No,
rules of it's a new rule of business, guys. So,
yeah.
well, I'm going to go ahead and end here. I don't see any other questions. Thank you again so much. This was a blast, and
Good.
guys, feel free to reach
Yeah.
out anytime if I can be of assistance.
All
Take
right.
care. Talk soon.
Thank
Bye
you, Amber.
bye.
Bye.
No problem.